Okay, I think we have three participants so far. I think we need to wait for the students, I guess.
Let's see what is the. Okay, yeah.
Okay, they are here.
Yeah. Hello, Ferdy, welcome. Samuel, Facundo, and Camille, welcome. Okay, Adna, and the class going to be in 1 hour. Okay, guys, the class going to the start right now. Enjoy the class, learn, and remember, please, you have to participate in the class. If you have some question, you can turn your microphone or you can ask the question directly to the teacher. He's going to answer the question, please. Okay? Okay, Adnan, the class is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me share the screen. Okay, I hope the screen is visible to all of the students.
Yes,
So
teacher.
welcome to the, okay, thank you. Welcome to the biology class, and we have four topics today. The first one is impact of human impact on the environment. We will see that how humans are impacting the environment. Impact can be positive or impact can be negative. And we will see that how humans are impacting the environment, whether it is negative or positive, right? And after this, we will discuss the plant kingdom. And we will see that what do we have in the plant kingdom and what types of plants do we have, and all the classification of different types of plants. We will study about those. The third topic today is going to be introduction to animal kingdom. You may have heard these terms before, plant kingdom and animal kingdom. So they are basically classification systems that we use to study different living things. And then we have arthropods, fish, and amphibians. So these are basically phylums or classes of the which belong to animal kingdom, and we will look at different animals that we have in these classes or phylums. Okay, so I hope the introduction about the topics is clear. The class is going to be very interesting and beautiful topics we have today. Okay, so we are starting from our first topic, and that is human impact on the environment. So as I said before, that the impact can be positive or it can be negative. So let me ask you a question. What do you guys think that how humans are impacting the environment? Is it a positive impact or a negative impact? What do you think? You can use chat to answer the question, or you can use mic as well. How are humans impacting the environment? Okay, so this is the question. And Mark said that the impact is negative. Okay, anyone else?
Negative, teacher.
Negative. Samuel said negative. Why do you think that it is negative? Can you explain how the impact is negative? Anyone? Any
Because
idea?
we generate dioxide of carbon.
Okay, yes. Yes, I think we are on the right track. So let's look into the topics. Yes, the impact is negative, and why the impact is negative and how or in how many ways humans are impacting the environment. We will discuss this, and this is very interesting, a beautiful topic we have today. Okay, so as you can see here, human impact on the environment. So we have different types of impacts, right? So humans impact the physical environment in many ways: overpopulation, is the one type of the impact that we have on our environment. And the second impact is pollution. And the third impact is burning fossil fuels, which is resulting in climate change and deforestation. So what is happening, how humans are impacting the environment? And these are the four major categories in which we are impacting the environment, right? So changes like these have triggered climate change, soil erosion, poor air quality, and undrinkable water, or we can say water pollution. So this matter is very serious, and we are facing extraordinary challenges in nowadays because of our impact on the environment. So I have placed some of the pictures here, and I want you guys to tell me that what is happening. What do you think of this picture here?
Is contamination.
What type of contamination?
Contamination of the ozone cap,
Of what?
of the ozone.
Yes, but another try one more time. Yeah, it's a pollution, but what type of pollution it is?
Deforestations.
Yes, this one is deforestation. Excellent, Mark. But the first picture, this one is
Air pollution.
yes, that's what I wanted to hear. Air pollution, right? And this is okay. So you have typed it here as well. Humans need to destroy the environment to be able to live. Yes, we have to, unfortunately, as humans. So we get an impact on the environment. So that's kind of true. So, and what about this picture here? This is deforestation. Yes, we are cutting down the trees. We are erasing forests. And what is this picture here on the right hand side? We have so many people. What will you call this? Yes. Okay. One student said that
Overpopulation.
overpopulation. Excellent. So what is happening here? If you see, so the resources of our planet, we do not have that much resources right now. As the population increases, we need more place. We need more space to accommodate those people. We need more food, right? We need bigger transportation systems. So all of these are problems and the negative ways that the environment is being impacted by us. So I think these pictures, must have raised many questions in your head, and it's good to move on. Okay, so now let us discuss pollution. And pollution is the introduction of harmful materials into the environment. So what are harmful materials? They are called pollutants, right? So pollutants are harmful materials that can damage the environment. And for example, carbon dioxide is a pollutant, plastic is a pollutant, right? Or fertilizers or poisonous chemicals, they can also be pollutants. So all of these pollutants, sometimes they can be natural, such as volcanic ash. When a volcano explodes, it releases huge amount of ash. So that is a natural pollution, but most of it is human made. So humans are responsible for a majority of the pollution on this planet. So they can, and here, as it is said here, that they can also be created by human activities such as trash or runoff produced by factories. Pollutants damage the quality of air, water, and land. So this was all about pollution. So another definition of pollution is an unwanted material, right? So any material which is not wanted, we can call that a pollutant or a pollution. For example, if at night you are studying the night sky, if you want to observe moon, if you want to look at the stars, and if there is too much light outside in your house, like outside the house, So that would be called night pollution, because light is not wanted in that environment at that time. So there is another perspective to pollution. Okay, so light can also be a type of pollution. Okay, so here I have presented two types of pollutions. So can you guys guess what type of pollution is this? What about this one? What type of pollution is this? Any student? You can use your mic or you can type in chat. This picture on the left hand side, what type of pollution is this one? Okay, that's an air pollution. You can see that there are lots of cars, and the smoke from the cars is polluting the environment, and the visibility is very poor. You cannot even see. So the city is like filled with smoke and poisonous gases from the engines of the cars, or we can say by burning the fossil fuels or petrol, etc. And this image on the right, this is a water pollution, which is contaminating the water and making it undrinkable. So this is water pollution. And this is one of the ways that humans are impacting the environment, the negative ways in which we are impacting our environment, right? So let's move on. Okay, so now let us come towards deforestation. It is also an impact of human activity on the environment, and that is also a negative impact. So what is deforestation? Deforestation is the purposeful clearing of the forest land. We are cutting down the forests, and that is damaging our planet in so many ways that we cannot even imagine at the moment. Uh, Trees or forests, they are basically the lungs of our planet Earth, and they help make oxygen, which is used by almost all the living organisms on Earth. So if we are cutting down the trees, it means that we are polluting our environment more and more, and what will happen that ultimately we will suffocate, and we will not be able to breathe. So why is deforestation a human impact? As I said before, that as the population increases, the human population, or we can call it overpopulation, we need more food. And if there is a forest, you cannot grow your food. You need fields, right? You cannot grow corn in a forest. You need land. You need smooth land without any trees to grow corn, to grow wheat, to grow rice, all the grains that we eat, right? So that is why the deforestation is happening, so that more food can be produced for the greater human population. So other reasons apart from food, that we are cutting down the forests, is that animal grazing. So animals need to eat grass, and they cannot eat trees, right? So if you have trees in a forest, so the leaves are very high on the trees. So animals like our sheep and cows and buffaloes and goats, they need to eat those leaves, and they mostly depend on grass, and grass is on the ground. So that is why we are also cutting down the trees in the forests. And the third reason that we are cutting down forests, that we need wood. And the most prime reason for wood is fuel, right? Yes, we are making furniture. We are making our cupboards, our beds and chairs and tables, but the most importantly, the most important need for wood is fuel. We burn wood, right? A fireplace, so that we can um, produce heat, or different sorts of works. Wood is being burnt in the industry for various types of reasons, right? So manufacturing, like I said, furniture and different types of things we can make from wood, and construction, like for building material, ceilings and walls and floorings, you may have a wooden floor in your house. So the more humans, the more houses, the more wooden floors, right? So this is all deforestation. So this is all about deforestation. So deforestation has greatly altered landscapes around the world. So it is completely changing the shape or how our planet looks, right? So pesticides and their food chemicals are also part of the contamination in the agriculture. Yes, Mark, that's a good input. I appreciate it. So the next thing is a climate change. And what is a climate change? Climate change describes global warming, right? But that is not the only like part of climate change. Climate change is much more than global warming. And whenever we think of a climate change, we think of global warming, but it is not just that. So what is basically global warming or a climate change? This picture would explain all the effects of climate change that is happening because of the human activity, because of the negative human impact on the environment. And as you can see here on the top left corner of this picture, what is this? This whitish structure. Can you identify this? What do we have here on the top left corner of the picture? Anyone, you have 10 seconds to guess. These are ice glaciers, right? Defrost, ice glaciers. You know, this is ice at the North Pole or South Pole of the planet Earth. So as you may have heard that the poles are covered with ice. So this is lots and lots of ice, and we call these glaciers. So what is happening that because of the climate change, the temperature is rising. Because of the global warming, temperatures are rising and they are melting down these glaciers. And as the glaciers are melting, the sea levels are rising and flooding. You may have heard about the recent flooding in Pakistan in your news if you watch TV, that massive floods destroyed many houses and crops in Pakistan, and this was a climate change disaster. And look at this. This is another picture. Because of climate change, forests are burning, you know. And why forests are burning? Because the temperatures are rising, and it's sort of easier. It becomes easier to ignite a forest naturally. So what is this picture here? In the middle, in the blue, do you have any idea? Yeah, excellent. It's a hurricane. And good job. So because of climate change, the weather is changing, right? So we are facing heavier snowfalls, and we are facing severe storms like we have never ever seen before on the planet. And when these storms are destroying cities and, you know, costing us lives of humans and animals, and destruction that it brings. So this is another area which is for which climate change is responsible. And here on the right hand side, we have sun, and this bright orange light is indicating that the temperatures are rising overall because of the global greenhouse gases, for example, methane or carbon dioxide or sulfur dioxide. So all these gases are responsible for the rising temperatures. And here you can see that a river has been flooded. So how do rivers flood? When we receive more rainfall than usual, right? Unusually high rainfall when we receive. So because of that, flooding occurs. And the other reason for flooding can be the melting of glaciers along with the rising sea levels. All this ice is changing into water. It is converting into water, and all that water is going into the sea. and the water and the sea level is slowly rising. And experts are saying that those cities, those people who live on the coast near the beaches, those cities will be underwater in the next 10 to 15 years. So that's how much rapidly the sea level is rising. And most of the area in the coastal towns will be underwater. You will not be able to live if you are living very close to the sea at the moment, unless we we don't change our habits. We will look at that as well. Okay, so here's another picture on the bottom right side of the picture. So as the weather is changing, some areas are receiving high rainfall, and it is resulting in destruction, storms and floods. And other parts of the world, they are facing absolutely like zero rainfall, and which is bringing droughts and famines, right? You cannot grow food there, and it is causing a shortage of food in those areas. So climate change is real, it is here, and it is taking lives, and billions and billions of dollars of damage every year. So here is a picture from Pakistan of the flood which happened last year. As you can see here, that this entire city is underwater. All the people, who used to live there, they had to evacuate, and some of them died. Unfortunately, their animals were lost, and so this is a result of climate change which is happening, and the human population or overpopulation is responsible for this. This is the impact of human activity or humans on the environment, a negative impact. So now let's talk about solutions. That you just saw that how devastating this impact can be on the environment. Now, how can we prevent this, or how can we control this? So the first thing that we can do is to use renewable energy. What is a renewable energy? A renewable energy is energy derived from natural sources that are replenished at a higher rate than they are consumed. Sunlight and wind, for example, are such good sources that are constantly being replenished. So sun rises every day, and you don't need to fuel it. You don't need to put fuel in the sun. It is just burning, right? And you can convert solar energy, and renewable energy sources are plentiful and all around us. So can you guys name any of the renewable energy? Yes, wind and we just talked about wind and solar energy. There is another one. We call that hydro energy. What do we mean by hydro energy? Anyone? What is a hydro energy? Yes, the sea, yeah, the river, or the force of water, right? Excellent, Mark. That was very good answer. Okay, so we have created dams, right? Like we are generating electricity by using the hydropower, the power of water, or the power of waves in the sea. So here is a picture of the renewable resources. We have solar plates. What are they doing? They are absorbing the energy from the sun, and they convert the solar energy into electrical energy. And on the right hand side, we have windmills, and windmills are taking advantage of the wind force, and they are converting the wind energy into electricity and all sorts of stuff. So we need more and more of these so that we can protect our environment. And what can you do? You can reduce, you can reuse, and you can repair and recycle. What do we mean by reduce? It doesn't mean that you should eat less than required. I'm not asking you to like eat one apple a day, okay? It doesn't mean that. So what do we mean by reduce is that reduce unnecessary travel. For example, if you go, for on holidays every 6 months, you can go once a year, for on a holiday, you can reduce the air travel, which generates lots and lots of carbon dioxide and other poisonous gases. By reduce, I mean that you will have so many clothes that you don't even wear, right? And if you have, like 7 or 8 shirts or 7 or 8 pairs of trousers, so I think that's more than sufficient. But no, we will buy, lots and lots of clothes that we don't even need, every time new clothes for each occasion. And we can use 3 pairs of shoes, but no, we will have 10, 20, the more the better, right? Nike, Adidas, and the more the sneakers, better. So this is what I mean by reduce, that don't buy things that you don't need, right? Yes. And yeah, excellent, Mark. He gave us another aspect to look at the situation. Mark is saying that reduce the unnecessary use of electricity, water, and transportation. Yes. So if you are watering your garden, most of the times we waste water, right? Drinkable water that we are wasting. And if you're, I mean, you can light up your room with one light, but you will have um, 3 or 4 different types of bulbs, light bulbs in your room, right? And so that's what I mean by reducing. So reuse. So what do we mean by reuse? So you can reuse things. Don't throw them, right? Like if you have like if you stop using a plastic bag, and instead of using a plastic bag, you use a bag that is organic, that is made up of cloth. Every time you go to the market to buy vegetables, you can put that vegetable inside that bag, and come home and take out the vegetables and keep that bag safe. And next time when you go to the market, then you can carry that bag. So this is reusing, right? You reuse things. Repair and recycle. Every time a mobile charger gets broken, or a mobile screen gets damaged, people would say that, oh, this phone is damaged, just throw it and buy another one. Or a motor car or a cycle, and just buy new, and we don't want to repair stuff, and we don't want to recycle stuff, right? So uh, don't use plastic. Try to minimize the use of plastic. Keep a water bottle with you, so that you don't have to buy the plastic water bottle. And if you have to buy a plastic water bottle or a soda like Coke or Sprite, excuse me, or Sprite, you can recycle the plastic bottles. And there are dustbins, which have a green mark that recycle. So put the bottles in those dustbins, so that the bottles can be recycled. So this is how, by doing little things and making little changes in our lifestyle, we can have a huge impact on saving our environment. And that is our social and moral obligation. And because the next generations will suffer, and our generation has to decide whether we want to protect this environment or destroy it. So it's all on us. Okay, so this was about the human impact on the environment, and now let us proceed to the plant kingdom. Okay, so before we start this topic, I would like to explain that what a kingdom is. What is a kingdom, anyone? Do you guys know? What does the word kingdom mean? kingdom? Okay, let me explain. Kingdom is basically a method of classification, and we divide living organisms into 5 major kingdoms, right? The literal meaning of kingdom is an area that you can rule. So a king has his kingdom, right? So this is the meaning of kingdom. But here in biology, we use kingdom for as a method of classification. We classify living organisms on the basis of these kingdoms. So how many kingdoms do we have? We have 5 kingdoms, and we study living things under these 5 kingdoms. So this is very, very important, and you should remember this all the time. You should have a pencil and a notebook with you, or an iPad, so that you can note it down. So kingdoms, we have animal kingdom, we have plant kingdom, we have fungi, we have bacteria, and we have protists. So all these 5 categories where we study living things. Okay, you can see here that all these are living things. So it is a method of studying and classifying living things. So I hope the meaning and concept of kingdom is clear. And now we can move on towards the plant kingdom. So this is the second topic that we have started. So the plant kingdom is also called the kingdom plantae, which includes all the plants that you see around yourself, like in the forest, in the garden. They are included in the kingdom plantae. And why are they included in the kingdom plantae? So that we can classify them, so that we can identify them, so that we can study them. So just for the purpose of classification, and just for the purpose of better understanding, we include these living organisms under different kingdoms. So they are eukaryotic. What is eukaryotic? We studied this term. We have studied this term in so many classes now. Eukaryotic. Do you guys remember? Can you guys recall? The eukaryotic cell or prokaryotic cell, we discussed about it in our previous classes in detail. So eukaryotics, basically they are advanced forms of living cells. They have a defined nucleus, they have modern cell organelles, right? And a well-developed cell. And autotrophic organisms. What are autotrophic organisms? Those organisms that can prepare their own food by using sunlight and the process of photosynthesis. So the plant cell contains a rigid cell wall. So when we were discussing about the animal cell and plant cell, I told you guys that the main difference between an animal cell and a plant cell is that the plant cell contains a rigid cell wall, and this cell wall is absent in the animal cell. Okay, so now let us move towards the classification of this kingdom plantae. Okay, so plants are divided into 2 main categories. One type of plants that has no seeds, and we have another types of plants that has seeds in them, right? So the plants which do not contain any seeds or do not produce seeds, they are called cryptogams. And those plants that produce seeds, they are called phenerograms. So you need to remember these words And this classification is very, very useful. And if you learn this, that would be amazing, right? This is so much knowledge and so many new things here that we are studying. So as a science student, as a biology student, you must know that how many different plants, types of plants do we have, or on what basis we divide or classify plants. So as we go further in the plants that have no seeds, we have algae, we have mosses and liverworts, we have ferns, right? So all these types of plants, they are basically they come under the category of cryptogams. And the algae or the chlorophyta has no true roots, stems, or leaves. And then we have plants that have some root and leaf-like structures, but not true roots and not true leaves. So they may have like a hairy structure, but not a completely developed root. And then we have ferns and horsetails, and they are called pteridophyta. They have roots, they have stems, and they have leaves. So all the big trees, right? They come under this category. The pine nuts and pines. So all of these, they come under this category. Okay, then we have. Okay, so pine is here. My apologies. This plant on this portion only contain ferns. We have pines here. We will look at the pines here in a moment. So now those plants that have seeds, they are further divided into two types. The ones that has no flowers and flowering plants. So those plants that do not bear flowers, they are called gymnosperms. And those plants that have flowers on them, they are called angiosperms. Again, very, very useful information and very exciting. Where do the transgenic seedless fruits and vegetables belong? So all the seedless plants, they come under the category of cryptogams, right? So if we look here, some of them, they are liverworts, and most of them, they come in the pteridophyta phylum. That was an excellent question. So all the vegetables and fruits that do not have seeds, they come under the category of cryptogams, and some of them, they come under the category of angiosperms as well. Okay, so we have conifers. Okay, you're trying to say transgenic or genetically engineered. Okay, well, this is a gray area, and they at the moment there are not that much. Like there is no, we can say that there is not that much category. We do not need a proper system to classify them at the moment because they are not that much. So it's just the beginning, and I'm sure that as the number of the species will increase over time, so there will be a classification system for them as well. But the original class does not change, right? For example, if you have a cucumber, which used to have seeds before, and now it has been genetically engineered, and you do not find seeds in cucumber anymore. So that does not change its class, right? Because in the plant kingdom, we keep things original. So we would say that, okay, this is a genetically engineered plant, and scientists are working on it and trying to develop to come up with the classification system for the transgenic or seedless fruits and vegetables. Very, very beautiful question. Excellent question it was, Mark. And I will find more information about it, and I will communicate it to you guys, like the proper, that what's happening with the transgenic or seedless fruits or vegetables at the moment. So gymnosperms, we have needle-like leaves. We have conifers. Conifers, by conifers we mean that they have pine-shaped or pinophyta, and we have ginkgophyta and or we can say that's cicadophyta. So all these plants, and this is the further, like we can say, the classification of plants, right? So this was the plant kingdom, or the kingdom Plantae. So if this is another classification, and it has some more like proper terminology if you want to memorize. So Pinus, then all the names of the species. Okay, I want to clarify this one. We have angiosperms here. And what are angiosperms? That angiosperms are plants that produce flowers, right? That we just talked about in the previous slide. These are the angiosperms. So angiosperms can be further divided on the type of seed. We have dicots and we have monocots, right? So dicots, when they arise from the ground, they have two cotyledons. And when monocots, mono mean one. And when they arise, they only have one cotyledon on, like they consist of one stalk, basically. And in dicots, we have mustard, we have sunflower, and in monocots, we have grasses and cereals. So this was a kind of a brief introduction and the different classifications that we have among the animal kingdom. Okay, so in my class at the university, I was studying about genetically changed bacteria, right? So a part of a DNA of a frog was taken, and it was incorporated into that bacteria, and that species never existed before. So what the scientists did, they combined the DNA of a frog with the DNA of a bacterium, and they created that new species in the lab. Well, the bacteria and the scientists, they used to joke about those bacteria, and they would say that, oh, these bacteria should croak like a frog, and we are not hearing anything, right? Because they have the DNA of a frog. So why don't they make such noise? So these experiments where new species are synthesized, so most of them, they remain in the lab. And since they are not many, so we don't need a classification system at the moment, and they are collectively called genetically engineered species. Okay, so now we are moving towards the introduction to animal kingdom. And this is the third topic in our today's biology class. So any questions so far? We have covered two topics. So if you have any question, you can ask, so that then we can proceed. You can use your mic, you can write down in chat. Okay, so let's move towards this another fresh topic. So introduction to animal kingdom. So as I just explained to you guys, that we use kingdoms to study different types of living organisms. So just like plant kingdom, we have animal kingdom, and we have a separate kingdom for the fungi. If you look here, and we have a separate kingdom where we classify bacteria, and we have a separate kingdom where we classify protists. So now we are studying about animal kingdom. So animals are eukaryotic. Again, eukaryotic, they contain the modern cell, which has a well-defined nucleus, and it can do lots and lots of functions, right? It has a proper different types of cell organelles like mitochondria, Golgi body, Golgi complex, vacuoles, ribosomes and different types of ribosomes, and all the organelles that we studied in previous classes. So this is the advanced form of the living cell, and we call eukaryotic. And the one that is not that modern, we call that prokaryote, of which bacteria are made of. So species belonging to the animal or kingdom Animalia, every animal has its own unique characteristics. So animals, most of the animals, they have unique characteristics. So now let us move on and look at the classification of the animal kingdom. So we have animal kingdom here, and in the classification system, we have different phyla, right? It is a scientific term that is used to classify like animals or species into various phylums. So we have Annelida, we have Nematoda, right? We have nematodes, we have roundworms, we have segmented worms. So all the types of the segmented worms, they come under in the phylum of Annelida. And we have roundworms, all the roundworms, they come under the category of, or the phylum of Nematoda. And then we have Arthropoda. So how many total phylums do we have in the animal kingdom? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yes, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Yes. So all the animals, they come under the category of these phylums. And we have Arthropoda, and we will talk about Arthropoda in our fourth topic. Arthropoda contains most of the insects like cockroaches and different types of scorpions and insects and millipedes, all of these scary creatures, right, that can make you jump, and they are from the phylum Arthropoda. And then we have flatworms, we call them Platyhelminthes. We have Chordata, and then we have Porifera, okay, and we have Echinodermata, we have Cridaria, and we have Mollusca. So all these are phylums in which we place different types of living animals or extinct animals that used to live on the planet Earth and which do not sort of exist today. They have been extinct. Then another division among the animal kingdom is the subphyla, right? So these are the names of the subphylums, and we have the two main classes that distinguish most of the animals into two distinct classes. We have invertebrates and we have vertebrates. In invertebrates, we do not have a backbone, and this is the main difference between the vertebrate and invertebrate animals. And in invertebrate classes, we have like starfish or sea urchins, right? We have jellyfish, we have corals, we have oysters, we have snails, and we have squid. So all these animals that live in the sea, they belong to the class of invertebrate animals. And then we have vertebrate animals, and then we have amphibians, right? Those animals that need water. They do not live underwater all the time, but they need moist conditions. We have reptiles, we have snakes, we have alligators, we have lizards or turtles. So they all of these animals, they come under the class of reptiles. Then we have birds, we have mammals, of which we are part of. We have bony fish, a bony fish that contains a vertebrate, right? Or a vertebral column. Then we have cartilaginous fish, like huge fish. And then we have lampreys, and we have hagfish. So these are all the vertebrates and invertebrates and subphylums. And yeah, so this is pretty much all about the animal kingdom, and this is how these are classified. And we have thousands and thousands of species in each of these vertebral classes, and as well as in invertebrate classes. And it is just the 5 to 10% of the total population of or the living things that have been classified at the moment, right? Most of the living things have not been able to, like we have not been able to classify majority of the living things at the moment. Like it's the process is still continue. Okay, so let's move towards the final topic, and we have 8 to 10 minutes left, and we will need some time for the lesson summary. I hope we would be able to cover this under 10 minutes. Okay, so as you studied about these names in the previous slide, arthropods and fish and amphibians. So what are these? These are basically the phylums that we study. Let me take you back. Here, arthropoda, right? It is a phylum that we study. So how many different types of animals or classes can we have? We have 3. And then we have subtypes. We have spiders and scorpions. We have crabs and lobsters and shrimp. And we have insects. We have like butterflies or cockroaches. And we have centipedes that scary, like creepy creeper, you know, with many legs, and millipedes. Many millipedes are not usually poisonous, but centipedes can be poisonous. So remember the difference. And amphibians. So let us talk about these 3. So as I said, arthropods are invertebrate animals. What do we mean by invertebrate animals? That they do not have a vertebral column, right? What is a vertebral column? Backbone. You can feel it. You have a backbone in your body, like if you like, because that enables you to move, you know, up and down, and it makes you able to stand like straight. So this is basically a backbone or a vertebral column. So these animals, they do not contain that backbone, and that's why they are called invertebrate animals with an exoskeleton. What is an exoskeleton? Exoskeleton is a type of skeleton that is outside the body. Like look at me. I have a skeleton that you cannot see. The bones are inside my muscle, right? So this is an endoskeleton. Endo means inside, and skeleton is a support system made up of bones. So but here with the arthropods, the skeleton lies outside the body in a form of hard shell. And apart from the exoskeleton, they have a segmented body and paired jointed appendages, right? So paired jointed appendages, we mean that if you have a leg or a segment on the one side, you will have another leg on the other side, right? So they form pair. So we will see in a minute. So arthropods belong to the phylum Arthropoda. Yes, Mark, like crab, excellent. So now let me show you the pictures of the arthropods. Okay, so American dog tick, beetle, deer tick, like milkweed bug, mosquito, crab, American lobster, ladybird beetle, all of these insects, they fall under the category of arthropods. And these are the longest surviving or the oldest living creatures on the planet, right? One of the oldest creatures on the planet. And it is said that they can even survive a nuclear attack. So, well, good for them. Okay, so now we are moving towards fish. And this also belongs to kingdom Animalia because fish is an animal. and phylum chordata. You need to remember that what type of phylum a species belong to, right? This is very important. So fish is from phylum chordata, and scorpions and insects are from phylum Arthropoda. So fish are aquatic, craniate, gill-bearing animals that lack limbs with digits. Included in this definition are the living hagfish, lampreys, and cartilaginous and bony fish, as well as various extinct-related groups. And those fish that used to exist in the past, and they do not exist anymore. So approximately 95% of the living fish species are ray-finned fish. So this is the classification of fish, a fin fish and shellfish. In shellfish, we have like mollusks, we have snails, we have squids, and we have shrimps, right? And in the fin fish, we have lean, fatty, or lean or fatty, this type of fish that we usually eat. Of course, yes, shark is a fish. Shark is considered a fish, and a shark is considered a fin fish. It has a fin. Okay, and some of them they belong to different phylums, but collectively they are known as fish. Amphibians, we have 2 minutes left. Amphibians are frogs and salamanders, toads, and newts. So they can breathe with the help of their skin. They can absorb water, right? So they have special glands. So let me show you a picture of these. So here is a frog. Here is a Sicilian, South American Sicilian. That is not a snake, that is not a worm, and that is amphibian. And we have an Oregon spotted frog, and we have a salamander. So these animals, they belong to phylum amphibians. So now we are closing in towards the summary. So we studied about the human impact, the most important topic from today's class. Always remember, recycle, repair, and reuse. Then we studied about the various classification of the plant kingdom. We have seedless plants, we have plants with seeds, we have plants with no roots, we have plants with roots, and we have plants with that don't give any flowers, and we have plants that have flowers, and arthropods, fish, and amphibians. So this was all today from my side. Thank you so much for joining and listening and paying attention. And over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Teacher Adnan. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Very good for the participation. That is very good job. Congratulations. Enjoy the rest of the day. Have a wonderful weekend to all of you. Thank you again, Adnan. Excellent class.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Have a nice week. Bye,
you.
students. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, teacher.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.